What's good? My name is Daniel. I'm a 17 years old music producer and I've made more than $200,000 posting my beats. So in this video, I want to walk you through my decisions that I've made in the last years in order to get to this point. And hopefully you will learn from my mistakes and my story and see what has worked for me so that you can apply to your own journey. Now, I started making beats when I was like 6 or 7 years old. And I already had a pretty solid musical background since I was already playing the drums, but then I discovered my first DAW and it was exactly on my mom's iPad. I remember I was at my grandma's house, I was bored as shit, and I found this application on their iPad, so I was just like trying it out and I basically fell in love with it. I started making my first beats in there, and bro, like, they were the most like experimental type of shit. Yeah, I was just having fun. Anyway, I started diving down into the rabbit hole of the whole, DAW and making beat stuff. And eventually I also got introduced into rap. I was in middle school. All my friends were listening to like the local scene of my city and simply like the new rappers that were coming up. So I started also like kind of getting that word, and I was listening to the beats and I was noticing that I could have kind of remake those beats into my own DAW, so GarageBand. So I started remaking basically beats that I liked from songs that I was listening to. I remember I was obsessed, for example, with a Rockstar beat from That Baby. Don't ask me why, I just like the guitars. So I was like trying to figure out what notes they were putting inside their melodies and trying to remake those beats. I was obsessed with Annalie Chopper. I remember I really liked the Shot of Flow beat and I was trying to remake that as well. So I was also kind of developing my own music taste and sound when it came to making beats. Then this friend of mine, it was still in middle school, introduced me to FL Studio, and that's when things got a little bit more serious because it was at about 2019, 2020, so there was also COVID and the whole like pandemic era, so everybody was obviously locked down inside their houses, and that's where I wanted to legally download FL Studio into my computer, and I started making beats from there. I was watching tutorials. I was also kind of already experienced with DAW since I was already making beats on GarageBand. So from there I was really like trying to basically level up. I was making all different type of beats. I was just testing out different things and what I liked and what not. I specifically like to make the freestyle beats, like the hood, piano, Annalie Chopper kind of beats. And a funny thing is that it's something that I basically stick to, and I also produced a song for Annalie Chopper later on, so it was like a full circle moment for me. So I actually produced 2 songs with Annalie. But so I was during lockdown, I started making beats, and I remember scrolling through YouTube once before a class that I had that day online. I found this guy named Solker, rest in peace, actually was a goated producer, but anyway, I found this channel and he was one of the biggest ones at the time. He was dropping those freestyle beats on his channel, and I was seeing that he was getting really good views. So I was trying not only to mimicate his style because I really liked the way his beats sounded, I also started noticing that other producers were also posting their beats on YouTube. So from that moment, I remember I decided to start my Instagram profile as a producer. I remember one of my friends also found me like randomly. I had a name, I think my first name was like something like Cash Soda, like some weird shit like that. I don't even remember why I chose that name, but I started this profile and I started like following a couple of random people and producers that I knew. Most of them were like just from YouTube because I've seen them posting type beats, so I just decided to follow them. I grew a decent following of like 50 followers, and at the time I also remember, since I was seeing everybody posting beats, I was like, okay, let me do the same. And I started posting my shit on Instagram. It was like one day I was uploading, like I was obsessed with Cardi as well. That was his prime time. Like 2020 was lucky his prime time, so I was uploading his beats, and then the next day a Drake type beat, and like that's the most cooked thing you can do. So if you're doing that right now, like stop it, because I was uploading like beats on Instagram, which just by itself is a wrong thing in my opinion, and then I was like just throwing an artist picture in there and upload it as a type beat there on Instagram. So you can tell that it didn't make sense. But at the same time, I also started my first type beat channel. This channel is actually still up on YouTube. I'll put it here on the screen so you can see it, but I basically started uploading in there, and looking at it now it feels so nostalgic. But you can see that from among the first uploads I had some TK beats, a couple of underground beats, slug beats, and I also started connecting with a couple of producers in the young Chris niche. So it was basically underground sample kind of beats. And as I started uploading those beats, I was kind of starting to noticing some patterns in every type beat channel. I was noticing, okay, this guy is all upload one single type of beat. They all use same type of thumbnails. So let me try to do the same. It wasn't like a really clear strategy, but I kind of figured out that that was what everybody was doing. So I started focusing on young Chris beats, was using this kind of like girl pictures. And that's where I see like my views kind of, you know, starting to go up a little bit. And since I was also running that channel, I basically connected with other producers in that niche. So that also made me able to kind of get through that first break of at least knowing some producers, right? They were all starting out, so they were basically at my same level. Maybe someone already had a K subs, like 1,000 subs, someone would maybe had also a placement or two, but we were kind of in the same like level. So I joined also their Discord. You know, it was like kind of a good network. I started seeing my views go up, and then I'd say probably like 1 or 2 months from me opening that channel, something crazy really happened. And this was the exact moment where like my whole mindset, the way I was thinking about this thing, that like until that moment I was just doing for fun. It was just something that, you know, I was making my beats, I put it on YouTube. I just wanted to let other people hear what I was doing. But as soon as this thing happened, like my whole mindset changed about this. And the moment that I'm talking about was my first beat sale. And you guys can probably relate to this if you ever got your first sale, because it hits so different. It was for $5 and I got it from my BeatStars. It was still the free plan, so I only had like 10 beats in there. And my dad actually showed me, it was like an evening, he was sitting in the sofa watching a movie and he got a notification on his phone and he showed it to me and he was like, this must be one of your beats. And it was for $5. So I was literally like jumping around the house. I was happy as fuck because that meant the world to me, because it meant that there was another person outside there in the world. Because keep in mind, I live in a very small town. Like, there's not a music scene here where I'm from. There's no other producers. Like, you know, it's a very like, I'm literally in the middle of nowhere, just to make it simple. So to me, it meant that there was another person outside in somewhere in the world that actually decided to pay for something that I made. But also something that changed is I understood that you can actually sell beats. You know, it's not just something that you can do for fun, but you can actually sell those. So from the moment I got my first sale, I started diving down a little bit more in depth into the whole thing of selling beats online, right? So I started watching some tutorials. I started analyzing kind of more in depth other channels. And the more I kept discovering new channels, the more I realized that there were people like getting millions of views on those type beats. So I was like, if I got a $5 sale out of the little views that I'm making on my channel, imagine these guys and what they're making out of the views that they're getting. So from that, I kind of got tired of that current channel I had. I even managed to monetize it. I reached 1,000 subs on that. I also kept getting a couple of sales here and there. I probably made like $2,000 maybe from that channel, which was pretty good. I was 15 years old at that time, so for me it was probably 14 years old at that time, so for me it was pretty crazy. In August of 2022, I remember this day because I was in holiday with my family, and I decided to basically open this other channel. I wasn't thinking too much about it, but I just decided that I wanted to follow a clear strategy from the beginning, because from what I said before, on my first channel, I started doing random shit, so it kind of messed up the whole algorithm by doing so. But on this channel, I decided to start uploading a specific type of beat and just going full in on only that. So yeah, I opened it and it was like something pretty crazy, because I finally seen the results of me studying the shit, and I got my 5th upload reaching 300,000 views. Obviously it wasn't overnight, but like it was blowing up like crazy. So I was starting to have DMs on my Instagram, growing my following, sales from that single beat. And it felt unreal. Like I never had a beat reaching that many views, especially in such a short period of time. I think the most amount of views I managed to get before that was like 50,000, right? And that beat now has like 320,000 views, which is like pretty crazy. So from that, I realized, okay, I'm gonna go full time on this. I'm gonna like study everything I have to study about this and simply like go full in on this YouTube thing. So I started taking my channel more serious. I just basically kept growing it. You know, I monetized it, reached my first 1,000 subs. Then the sales kept coming in. I reached my first 10,000 subs. I made my first 10K of the beats. So everything was compounding and basically adding up. And then in October of 2024, around November of 2024, it's where like life really felt unreal, because I've hit my first 10K month ever, like in my entire life. And I was just turning 17, yeah, because my birthday is on December 21st. So I was still 16 actually, because I'm 17 now. So hitting 10K a month from just a channel and from just a posting one beat a day as a 16 years old, like, was some, like some unreal shit for a kid like me. Because just a year ago, I was figuring out the shit by myself with 50 followers on Instagram. So you can tell how, big gap there is there. And out of that channel, I also started getting my first placements and industry connects. For example, first big placement ever was one with Annalie Choppa. With that channel, I also kind of started opening my whole network and, started meeting new producers and stuff. It's crazy how much just a channel can like change your life. And I still do believe to this day that type beats are the best way to get started as a music producer, especially if you don't have a music scene where you're from, or if, you can't really leave your bedroom or house or whatever you have to do, because it literally like low-key needs like 1 hour a day. Actually, I have a 2-hour long course for free here on YouTube explaining the strategy that I used to blow up my main type beat channel and all of the other ones that I managed to blow up. It's the same strategy that my students that I'm working one-on-one with are applying. So if you're interested, definitely go check that out. It's like the only video like this on YouTube, by the way. Anyway, I hit my first 10K a month, and from there, like, I basically started to become more established, to get more placements by the day, and I basically figured out a strategy that could let me able to do this full-time and only focus on this. I also think I was in a good position because I was making money from the YouTube AdSense of my YouTube type beat channel, the sales that I was getting, and also from all these placements that I was starting to get. Also my publishing kind of catalog was starting to grow, so I was also getting my first publishing checks. I remember the first time seeing, I think it was 1,000 out of the songs that I produced, and it felt unreal because I had to figure also that shit out, because I'm the first one in my family and like out of all the people I know that is doing this, so I always had to see what other producers online were doing and kind of copy them so that I could get my bread out of the songs that I produced. And so there I am now. I've made finally more than $200,000 from this journey and me selling beats, and I also was able to work with my favorite artists, which is something that I'm still grateful for every single day. And you see that like I wasn't someone special, like I just liked music. I just felt like sharing my work to other people around the world, and then from the first sale I started noticing that I could actually turn this into some type of job. I'm 17 now, so I still go to school. So I wanted to make this video just to showcase to you how much decisions can influence your life if you direct them in the right way. And of course it takes time, consistency. There's gonna be moments where you see other producers online winning, getting plaques, even maybe they're younger than you, making more money than you, and it just demotivates you like a lot. I used to go through that same shit. Like there were days where I literally had to go back to my why and why I started, because I was like just kind of losing even the love for music that I had back when I was starting out. But it definitely all paid off, so I'm grateful every single day for the journey ahead. Now, this video was not to brag in any way. I literally just wanted to showcase to you my journey and what I did to achieve the level that I'm at right now. So hopefully this video were motivational to you and maybe you even learned something. Consider following my Instagram. I'm active on there, Spitting Sauce. Just reminding you to check the free course in the description, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.